Welcome, I'm Baruch Halevi, also known as B, co-founder of Soul Centered, a spiritual center for meaning, purpose, and healing for anybody in the afternoon of life. That's second half of life, midlife, and far beyond. And the reason why we created Soul Centered is because my wife Ariel and I wanted to create a space, build a community, build our healing, her healing, and my counseling practice around this real estate in the afternoon of life, because it's an opportunity now like never before to take back our power. I'm not talking about the power of accumulating and acquiring and becoming. In fact, that's not power. That's a version of power, the morning of life power. Afternoon of life power is about authentic power that comes from within. And there is nothing more powerful in our life than the power of choice. This program, The Power of Choice, is my newest program. It's a lifelong philosophy that I've really crystallized and articulated into this program, and I'm running small groups, and I'll be running different other opportunities for you to participate. Would love to hear from you if you're interested. But it comes down to this, and that's what today's conversation is about, is the big picture, 30,000 foot view of what is your soul choice. And it comes down to Dr. Viktor Frankl, my teacher, mentor's statement that between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom and our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our happiness. We are here to choose. The challenge is, most of the time we're not choosing. Most of the time we're reacting. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. When we can stop, stake out our claim on that space and learn to expand the space, learn to stop reacting to whatever the stimulus, whatever the circumstances are, when we can stop reacting, we start to take back our power, the ability to choose, the ability to respond, or as Dr. Frankl says, responsibility, the ability to respond to our circumstances, to our life. This was a man whose ideas were born prior to the Holocaust, logotherapy, meaning-centered therapy he had created prior to the Holocaust, but it was battle-tested during the Holocaust, as documented, as I'm sure many of you know, in Man's Search for Meaning. He's written over 30 books. That was his most famous. But it really hinged upon this idea that we have the power to choose no matter what is happening to us. And yet, we so often forfeit our choice in situations far less, of course, devastating than the Holocaust. We forfeit our choice every time we just react in anger. We forfeit our choice every time we go to the fridge, open it, and we're not hungry. We forfeit our choice every time we find ourselves binge watching Netflix. Nothing wrong with watching TV or eating or anything, but when we're outside of our control, outside of our power, when a feeling is impacting us and so we eat, when anxiety is impacting us so we binge watch TV, whatever it might be, when we're not conscious, we're not at the wheel of our life, then we are literally powerless. We are victims, right? Victims to our circumstance. The power of choice is taking back the only gift that we truly have, the only power that you and I have in this lifetime. As Dr. Frankl says, you can have this power up until your dying breath. The power to choose how to respond to your life. But we've got to expand the space between stimulus and response. We've got to stake our claim on that space. We've got to study it, understand how I particularly react, because how I react isn't necessarily how you react, and how you react isn't the same way that your children or your spouse or other people react. We each have a fingerprint, we each have a soul print, and our soul print is unique, as unique as our fingerprint, and so is the way that it hides, that we lose it in the morning of life, in particular the morning of life, when we're so busy hustling and creating and becoming and achieving, we start to lose our ability to respond to our circumstances, and we start to lose it to our, what Jung calls the false self, and we become the false self. And our soul, our true self, our authentic self, she's always there. but she's in the backgrounds, in the shadows, been relegated to the sidelines. She's patient. She waits. And in the afternoon of life, when the world around us starts to slow down, or in my world is not slowing down, but I'm starting to see differently, and we can talk about why the afternoon of life, but over and over again, I've seen in my own life and the lives of those whom I guide, the afternoon of life is ripe and rife for opportunities to stop reacting and start responding. So your soul choice is both philosophy, but also practical application of how to take back your power to choose your response. There are really three sections that build on one another. The first section is Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. And I draw from it, it's a universal spiritual message. I no longer, I'm a synagogue rabbi. I see myself, rabbi means teacher. I'm a teacher to all people around spirituality in general, Kabbalah in particular, although I am a practitioner of Buddhist mindfulness meditation as well as Hinduism yoga. But Kabbalah is kind of my sandbox. And the basic premise in Kabbalah is that we are partners with the divine, that we have been empowered with divinity, and there's no more divine gift that you possess than the power of choice. So we explore Kabbalah and the origins of choice, the purpose of choice, what choice is from a spiritual, mystical perspective, and how then to live it out in your life. We go from Kabbalah to Viktor Frankl, logophilosophy, logotherapy. Why? Because whereas Kabbalah's beautiful theory, Dr. Frankl's life and his example is beautiful reality. He shows us, like so many great men and women, like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks and Mother Teresa and Gandhi. I mean, there's so many examples that we don't have to be victims to our circumstances, that we always retain the power of choice. So we go from Kabbalah and the purpose of choice into Viktor Frankl, logotherapy, and the power of choice. Dr. Frankl talks a lot about the spirit, the noetic, and how we tap into, draw upon the defiant power of spirit. And when we go into this place of choice, it's not coming from our brain, and it's not coming from our heart. It's coming from the noetic, from the spiritual. Choice as a spiritual practice, taking responsibility as a spiritual practice, the defiant human spirit, calling upon it. What does that mean? How do we do that? We go from Kabbalah, the purpose of choice, to Frankl and the power of choice. And last but not least, to the Enneagram. The Enneagram is an ancient personality, character, energetic roadmap. There's 9 basic energies, and within that there's 3 subtypes. So there's really 27 basic energies. And I have my clients take a profile, an amazing Enneagram assessment. It's just spot on. But the Enneagram is powerful because it doesn't show us who we are. It shows us where we hide, the shadows that we react to. When I'm in reaction, I'm in fight, freeze, flight, I go to the same shadows. Very different than my wife Ariella, very different than my kids. We all have different Enneagram types. I react in certain ways. I go to certain shadows. The Enneagram starts to help me see where I react, the shadows I go into, my false self, and then it starts showing me lines and patterns and pathways out of my shadows. How to choose, when I need to make that decision. What am I choosing from? For so long I thought I'm just intense. That's the way I am. And I am intense, and it can be powerful and productive. It can also be powerless and destructive, right? Anger. My Enneagram type, Enneagram 8, is defined by anger. Harnessed, you can become Martin Luther King. He was an Enneagram 8. He had tremendous righteous indignation because he harnessed it and he used it to make the world a better place. But then there are too many examples of Enneagram 8s who don't harness their anger and they devolve into destruction. I have a choice. It's not simply the way I am, the way I'm built. It's the way I act. The Enneagram shows me pathways, patterns, directions through my choices. but the power of choice is ultimately mine. That's the power of choice, and that is your soul choice. This is a new program that I'm just so excited to be piloting. I've got multiple groups going on right now. Would love to hear from you if you're interested in working with clients on your soul choice. And stay tuned for these videos, because I'll just be talking around this idea going forward of your soul choice. You can learn more at mysoulcenter.org. Would love to hear from you. Just shoot me an email at the letter B, at mysoulcentered, ED at the end, .org. Until the next time, shalom, salam, namaste. Peace.